So today we will be drifting, then we will be adjusting, drifting again, adjusting even more and drifting again. Just to see when we are changing things, how they are actually improve or decrease the car kind of drivability or driftability in this case. So finally our old drift tires are off and we are installed now competition tires. So if you can see, I can actually squeeze those tires here, because this compound is more like a rubber, which means that those tires was very high grip comparing with the ones which are the competition ones. And that's the majority which people are using to drift, is actually the plastic kind of tire compound. There is also a mix in between, so big range, of available different type of traction tires. But yeah, why I was struggling is simply because there was like too much traction. So now I will show you the car. So those are the competition tires from dsracing, and as you can see, car is actually now pretty much like a duck on ice. So we are currently actually using the most slippery surface which we can find, which is concrete tiles, sea tiles, call them that way. And yeah, if it's those tires are good fit for that, I'm not sure, maybe not. Those tires are probably better on, I don't know, painted floor or something like that, or P-tiles even, So we will be maybe a little bit struggling, but that's okay. So now, before we actually get into the wheel alignment rack, which I have here, which we will be looking at today, we will try out to drift now, so you can see how the car performs. Now we have problems with the camber in the front, because I don't know who before put it completely wrong. It's way too much, which we don't need. So we will put back to the stock specification this car. We will try drift again, and after that we will be installing this dsracing titanium tie rod set, which will give us more adjustability for camber and all the rest of the parameters where it's coming to wheel alignment. So all that will be happening in this episode today. Okay, so let's try out now. So you will see that the car is performing and acting completely different what it was before. I will probably try to put maybe side by side, video just so you can see. But yeah, so currently it's like almost on ice, I would say, to be honest, those tires are not probably the best fit for sea tiles. I think they are made for a little bit more grippier area than this one. But yeah, it makes everything slower, of course, because of the least traction which I have now, which again gives us a little bit different possibilities that we can do much more fun stuff, It's again new practice curve, just because the car is completely driving now differently, But yeah, so I still, of course, struggling with that steering, which I start. This we will definitely sort out, in this video here, so we can finally make a full lock, because they are tiny bit touching the shocks, and that's most likely because our camber is way off. So once we will fix the camber, that should finally take care of our steering issue. And keep in mind as well, when you are doing adjustments of your wheel alignment, especially front one, you definitely always want to reset your endpoints for the gyro, as well for your steering, for your remote. So that should be done after every single change you do on your kind of wheel alignment, okay? Okay, so the car is currently on a wheel alignment rack. That's how you call it. Interesting fact about how you are installing it, because there was no instructions, nothing, so it's pure guess. So currently I set all the rack that it's kind of forward facing, and I will explain you now why. Because in my first think I thought it doesn't really matter, if you are putting it forward facing or backward facing, because currently when it's set like this, if I want to, turn my steering wheel, I will be touching the shocks. If I would be setting it backwards, I have much more play, so I can pretty much almost use full lock, But apparently it actually matters, and where it matters for the front, for example, when we are measuring the caster, technically it should be now at 6 degrees caster. What is caster I will explain you a little bit later. But yeah, so if I will turn them around backwards facing, my caster suddenly becomes 10 degrees. So somebody who knows better can maybe explain, you know, why it is like that, because technically I think it shouldn't be. So now I have a question, you know, 6, 10, or should I take a middle out, so it should be like 8 degrees caster currently. What is right, what is wrong, who knows, right? Because yeah, when I'm watching the videos, you know, I see guys who are doing this, you know, they have those ones forward facing, those ones backward facing. What is right, what is wrong, who actually knows, right? Okay, anyways, so what we are looking currently at is that we will be looking at the camber, because I have issues with that. And why I have issues? Because somebody has made adjustments and it's pretty much wrong, you know. I don't like the stance first of all, but it's also wrong because it's way too much. So what is camber? Camber is your wheels, how they are sitting. So if it's gonna be straight, then your camber is pretty much 0. If they are going like that, then that's negative camber, and like this will be positive camber. So on drift cars, we are watching on a negative camber. Front always will be more than back. But in a front, what we are looking at 6, I think, is the standard one, the standard camber for this car. And yeah, you don't really ever want to go over 10 probably degrees. So from 6 till 10 in the tire you can play, you know. Currently what's happening here on the left side, I have 11.5 degrees, right side pretty much the same, almost 12. So it's technically twice as much as I need, and I think that would be one of the issues why I have understeer issues. And the second issue why I'm having is, why it's wrong, is because I'm touching the shocks, and that's most likely because of this camber. Because how you are adjusting the camber on the stock chassis MST. So there you see this part here where I'm pointing, if you can see. So this rod here has been adjusted, because normally you're not gonna see the screw here in the middle. There should be a spacer plastic like you have on the bottom as well. There are 2 spacers at the bottom and 1 on the top. So the top one should be 7 millimeters. And if I will take my tool now and I will measure, I'm actually getting only 4 mil here. So that means that all the chassis kind of wheel alignment has been pushed closer from the top side, and that's how you are gaining the negative camber. You can also gain it by adjusting the lower kind of, I don't know how they call it, rod arms or whatever it's gonna be, you know. So that one you can push out as well, you will be gaining negative camber. So when you are adjusting all those things, you are of course adjusting a lot of different things as well. One thing to point out is that you need something, so which is 2.5 millimeter in a diameter. So I'm using this needle here. You can use Allen key maybe if you have 2.5 millimeters. There is a hole in MST chassis which you put the stick through, and that will lock your steering. Because when you are measuring the camber, you know, all the wheel alignment, of course you need make sure that your wheels are actually straight. What also is interesting, so this gauge here is the one which is measuring the toe in, toe out kind of parameter. And what's interesting in this case, so again, like I remind you, stock chassis, everything looks 50-50, you know, there are no something off or something. But when I'm putting now to measure my toe, on this side I'm actually getting 0 degrees. And if I move to this side, I'm actually getting around 2.2 around degrees toe out, which is technically should be splitted evenly on both sides, and we should get around 1 and 1. So why it's off? Simply because look what's gonna happen. So if I will start moving, you see there is a play. Especially how much bigger play on this side here. So this is, you see, where the upgrade and tuning parts are coming in, that you do not have such a big play, because now when I'm moving, I can actually move, you know, almost 2 degrees, which is way too much, you know. There'll always be maybe some play, but not that big one. So that's where the upgrade and tuning parts are coming in, you know, because they will be more rigid than those plastic ones. Of course, things are wearing out, even like there will be always shims anyway. One more interesting fact actually about looking in the manuals, you know, because this car when I bought it didn't came as a manual, but there is manuals available online. So this part here, I'm not sure if you can see, hope you can see. So this top kind of rod arm, there are two spacers. One is 2 mil, one is 1 mil. Everywhere where I'm looking, almost everywhere, let's say that way, when I'm looking on the images online for the MST 2.5 chassis, the 2 millimeter spacer is kind of in the front and 1 millimeter spacer is in the back. But if you will take a look in a manual actually, the 2 millimeter spacer should be on this side and 1 millimeter should be on that side. So what this will be adjusting? This will be adjusting your caster, okay? So why everyone is putting like this, just watching from the images, but never really looked in the manual, or the manual which is online is outdated and there is updated manuals are coming. So that's kind of interesting. So that's what I spotted, you know, when I was looking on all the adjustability and everything, how it should be kind of in a stock version. Okay, enough talking. Let's get to the adjustment. So I will adjust currently just a camber, because the rest of the things I will keep. Rear camber, if you can't see, so we are pretty much 1 degree on both sides, which is good. And yeah, the toe in the rear I didn't measure yet. I will measure it before I will start changing to the adjustable tie rods. But yeah, currently we will be adjusting just the camber in the front, and then we will put the car again on the floor and try out drift with those adjustments. Okay, so now I added on both sides, pretty much it came down to 7.2 millimeters, because yeah, you have full turns here, so you see it's kind of adjustable, but of course not as fine adjustable as it would be, you know, with those ones here. Okay, so currently what we have pretty much camber now, -5 degrees on both of the sides, which is good. Let's quickly see once again our toe. So now our toe actually is way much more out. Why it's so much out? And what is off? Because I don't think that it should be that much out from the factory. Okay, so I'm not sure what's happening with the toe out, why it's so big in the front. Everything kind of checks out as it is per manual, apart from those two spacers which I pointed before, which are in the wrong situation, but that was more for the caster, not for the toe. So yeah, toe is not really kind of currently adjustable technically. Of course it changes as we are changing the camber and all that stuff, but yeah, interesting. Anyways, so currently what I done is I set endpoints in the remote, adjusted them, and I reset as well the gyro. If you don't know how to do that, I have a video where I was doing this, so you can go and check that out. Now, it's coming to front tires. They are not touching the shocks anymore, thanks to the camber that we straightened them a little bit out. So that's kind of good. So let's try out now and see how it acts now, you know. So I also increased the gyro up to around 75%. So no more understeer as well. So you see that's pretty much fixed our understeer issue simply because the camber was too much. So now let's get back to the sinks. So I will now install adjustable tie rods and I will set the settings. I'm not sure if I will be filming that one, but what I will do, I will come back with the settings which I set on my chassis. Okay, so finally chassis is aligned. It took me some time, but now let's get to the numbers. So front camber, -6 degrees each side. So that's that. Now toe out. Toe out is the wheels are looking pretty much outside, you know. So that one I have set 3.5 degrees per each side. That's what I'm looking here from the top. Now, next one, the caster. Caster, you are actually looking from the side. I will show you in image how you are looking at how much degrees your caster is. So my currently is +6 degrees. And now, when I start turning the wheels, so roughly around 35 degrees over, my camber is pretty much negative for the inside. Not negative, but zero pretty much at the 35 degrees onwards. And yeah, that's kind of good. There is something as well known as Ackermann angle, where the inside wheel actually turns more than the outside when you are turning one way and other way around. But when you are pretty much driving straight, then that angle is kind of closer to, you know, zero. In this case we have 7 degrees in between, but when we are turning, this angle will be growing bigger. So that's kind of known as Ackermann angle as well. That I haven't played with. I just left it as it is, you know, according to those parameters here. Now let's go to the rear. So rear camber as well, -2 degrees. Now toe in a back. So if in the front we had toe out, in the front our wheels are actually looking inside, and toe in the rear we have 2 degrees per each side. So that's not really adjustable on this RMX 2.5 kind of classic chassis, you know. And yeah, I would like to go 1 degrees on both sides toe in the rear, but yeah, that's something maybe, you know, for the future. But yeah, those are my numbers, you know. I'm quite happy how this alignment is actually now sitting. Highly recommend this dsracing titanium tie rod set. Very good. There are still few parts left over. I haven't changed this this rod here, which is from the steering servo to the actual arm of the steering. You know, I left the plastic one. Don't really see the reason why would I want to change it, because I think this actually titanium setup will be heavier than the plastic one, and yeah, I'll just leave it for now. Maybe in the future I will change, but that's what it is. Yeah, so that's it. Now just need to put on wheels and get the car on the floor. Okay, so let's see how it performs now. So car drives very good currently. Quite happy with the results. Also the wheel alignment looks much better now on the car as it was before. So normally I would probably like to go a little bit wider wheels on this specific body, simply because it's wide body. And yeah, so now what's next? Next is pretty much we will keep training on this specific car here. And while we are doing that one, we most likely in the next video actually will switch to different chassis, different project, and yeah, see what we can do with that one. But when it's come to this car here, so it's amazing to see from where we actually started, you know, how it looked, how it's looking now, how it was performing, how it performs now is pretty much day and night. So I understand as well probably why this car was sold in the first place, simply because, to be honest, it was not really, you know, a good drifter when I got it. So now it's pretty much, you know, ready to go on any track. So that's something as well I probably will be looking, because I want to get somewhere in a bigger area, you know, maybe even find some sort of proper drift track somewhere where I could go. So I'll be looking around for opportunities, and if I will find something, of course I will take you with me. And yeah, if you have any questions about wheel alignment, everything I was doing today, or maybe some notes to leave, comment them down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed this build series here, hit that like, and if you want to see more, consider to subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.